Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to Kruznik's Purgatory. I am your host, Kruznik X. Alongside me, Arya Stormborn.
Hey, y'all.
The worst has come to light.
Literally.
Light has returned to the world of Norvrant. Having defeated the last of the Light Wardens, we have pretty much done what Emmett Soak wanted the entire time. Reen was able to stay the flow of light, but she's only delaying the inevitable. Only one thing left to do now. Oh, sir, you're awake. You were injured during the foray in Mount Gould, yes? I was here at my station, as always, when they carried you on a makeshift stretcher looking disturbingly bereft of vigor. And to compound my worry, the sky has, well, I'm sure you've seen. It has everyone rather concerned, to say the least. Seeing you up and about is the first good news we've had in a while. Assuming you feel strong enough, would you mayhap consider a stroll around the city to reassure our anxious citizens? Bragi was one of those who helped convey you to your chambers, and he has visited several times since to inquire after your condition. Well, look who's back from the dead. Aye, it was a grim sight. Your companions looked ready to drop when they brought you in, so I offered a helping hand. Couldn't bear to see them struggle so. And you, my friend, I fear you'd had one foot in the grave. Cold and lifeless you were, like a corpse that was somehow still breathing. Then they told me some evil bastard went and snatched our poor Exarch away in the midst of the chaos. Wicked White. What is this world coming to? Bah. But moaning never solved a thing, did it? Nay. It's times like these that we Crystarium folk stand tall and do what needs to be done. Trade with Yulmore is back on the table. We best make use of those resources to fortify the city against the Eaters. Whatever misery the fates deem fit to throw at us next. Speaking of misery, Chesamil was worried sick about you. A healer wringing her hands is not a sight you ever wish to see, let me tell you. Alright, let's go visit Chesamil.
Oh, sweetie, you're alive. No one's been allowed to see you. Even Spa-Chair excursions were forbidden from making visits. Reen was kind enough to tell me you were showing symptoms similar to Eater corruption, so I suppose there was little any of us could have done for you in any case. As for your companions, they've been rushing hither and yon, seeking a cure to your condition. I worry to see their faces is grown ever more haggard every time they pass through the Crystarium. I shall let them know you're awake, and when they come to see you, sweetie, please do convince them to rest a bit. They won't be helping anyone if they all collapse of exhaustion. Ah, And our own Morin has been a little better, I'm afraid. He hasn't left the cabinet, too busy with his nose buried in one dusty tome or another.
To the Cabinet of Curiosity.
Confound it! It's the same thing as the last! Mayhap I should approach the problem from a different perspective. Chris! Is it truly you and not some figment of my imagination? Oh, but this is wonderful! 'Twould seem our prayers have been answered! Feeling otherwise helpless, I've been scouring our shelves for the wisdom to explain this most worrisome conundrum. Why, with all the light wardens defeated, has light returned to obscure the sky? I must have pored over 100 tomes, but no definitive conclusion seems forthcoming. So many questions I would pose to the Exarch, and thus do I feel its absence all the more keenly. Now that you are awake, however, I am hopeful the search for our stolen steward might begin in earnest. Catless, meanwhile, leads the crystalline mean in preparations for battle. Though against what foe, we are as yet uncertain. Why not pay her a visit? I expect seeing you upright would be a much welcome relief.
One can hope.
Chris! Alive and well, I see. You gave us all a proper fright, you know that? Not a day's gone by that I haven't heard folk worrying what's to become of you or the Exarch. Anyway, I'm glad you've recovered enough to stand. You're not planning on striking out straight away, though, are you? I was hoping to have a better look at your equipment. If we'd been able to provide you with better weapons or sturdier helms, then maybe you would have won the day, and the Exarch would still be here. As such, we're keeping busy consulting each other on new forging techniques and designs and the like. If you could stand still a moment, I'd like to assess the gear we're trying to improve. Aye, well, that's some fine work, I must admit. It wouldn't be impossible to make something better, but we need to experiment with different patterns and materials, and I'm not sure we have that kind of time.
That sounds like a challenge that he would enjoy.
Greetings, Glynod. The Master of the Stairs is running his own errands now, is he?
Aye, well, my servants are distraught enough as it is. They didn't want to crack the whip too hard. But never mind that. I'm thinking our absent genius and his epiphanies are the perfect answer to this predicament of yours.
And by genius, you mean old Grenold. He is a man of unrivaled gifts, I won't argue with you there. But what good does his talent do us if we can't bloody find him? No one's seen hide nor hair of Grenold since he wandered off some years ago. You know what he's like once he latches onto an idea. He's probably cloistered himself in some forgotten cave, completely absorbed in his latest creation. I wouldn't even know where to start looking.
That does make things difficult. Still, that eccentric is someone you're destined to meet. I wager he'll show up soon enough. In my time at the bar, many's the tale I've heard told of strangely fated encounters, even if a few of them might be stretching the truth just a bit.
We'll keep our noses to the grindstone for the time being, but on the off chance you do encounter Grenold, you'd be wise to take advantage of his brilliance rather than wait on our slow and steady progress. This is all talk from when you fully recovered, of course. I'll let you get back to convalescing, eh?
Ah, before you do that, you're actually the reason I came over here in the first place. I don't suggest partaking of my stock until you're properly well, but if you're passing near the stairs, then I have a few regulars I'd like to introduce you to. I'd best be getting back. Just because the world's coming apart at the seams doesn't mean we have to follow suit now, does it?
Here! We can't forget the heart upon which this city was founded, or the Exarch might not have much of a home to return to. Chris, are you alright? I think a return to your sickbed might be in order. Or you might consider resting a while atop the watchtower next to the rookery. This damnable sky doesn't make for the most soothing scenery, but the Exarch often like to stand there and feel the wind upon his face.
Alright. Might as well. There's nothing else for it. Damn it.
The people of this city have spirit, I'll give them that. They've not lost the will to fight. I can imagine how torn you must feel, looking at that sky. Knowing what it means to everyone. And that you're responsible.
It's all such a mess.
Aye. An all too familiar one. Here you stand alone, expecting no one else to bear the burden for you. You're in a corner, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious way out. But that doesn't mean it's over. However hopeless it seems, you haven't lost yet. I remember looking up at the sky like this before. being caught up in a strange kind of calm. It was after we realized we were responsible for the flood, when we resolved to journey to the source by taking our own lives. One last sacrifice, one last fight, one last failure. And then the Oracle appeared and, well, you know the rest. There were times in the years and decades that followed when I wondered if we might not have been better off just letting the rejoining happen. That we'd made one last mistake. But seeing that giant Talos stir to life cured me of any doubts I still had. Always we took the burden of fighting upon ourselves. That's what heroes do, isn't it? So we never had the chance to see anything like that. Our people coming together as one. To think that their hope still burned so bright. That they were still so eager to live, they would lift up their fellows, one on top of the other, till they reached the sky. No. We made the right decision. And I can finally feel proud of the part we played in helping this world survive. Well, come on then. As I thought, what happened between us was no coincidence. My story may be finished, but the fates have gifted me a minor role in yours.
What is it?
I suspected as much the moment I realized you could hear me. But it's hard not to doubt yourself when you're the man who caused the flood. I was afraid to do anything more than watch for fear of making things even worse. But no longer. After all, the path I once walked is now yours to finish. For what it's worth, I cast my lot with yours. If you need a push, I'll be right there behind you. If you lose control, I'll do my best to stop you. So, let us be about it, hero.
Oh, I was worried you were up here all alone, brooding and fretting and wallowing in your woes. But look at you, grinning at nothing like a pollen-run pixie.
Fe'ul.
Look at what you've done to your ether. It's a mess. And you have cracks running all through that pretty soul of yours. My poor little sapling. Whatever am I to do with you? Shall I yield up my throne? You could claim it, cut ties with the mortal world, hide away in the castle.
Not likely.
Won't fix the problem, but would it really matter? If any pesky heroes come calling with steel and magic, all of Il Meg will rise up in your defense. My crown and scepter are yours, if you want them. What? Don't give me that look. Of course I knew before I asked that you'd never ever heed such a wicked suggestion. And besides, what would become of my precious and ephemeral flower? Oh, my dear beloved sapling. You are lost, confused, and have precious little time to gather your wits. Your kind is always so preoccupied with what lies ahead, and so we muddle your vision with fog and glamour. But such trickery is easy to see through. Stand very, very still. Think not of where you need to go, but where you are right now at this moment, at this time, in this place.
Live for the moment, huh?
Our cairn of crystal. From shadowed hood he watched you go, his ruby eyes with warmth aglow. See yourself as he saw you, and that shall be the clearest clue. You stand in his garden, dear sapling. Ask his flowers what they know, and you will surely find an answer. But what will you do with it, I wonder? I'll be watching and waiting. Waiting and watching.
All right. I might as well try and get that. Nope, overshot it. Yeah, well. Let's gather some information on the Exarch. Or, I should call him Grahatia, but... Oh ho, I did not expect to see you on your feet so soon. Surely you have not come in search of an armorer. What do I know of the Crystal Exarch? I am happy to share, but I fear there will be no surprising revelations. As any in the city could tell you, he's a man of wisdom and compassion and many untold secrets. But none can doubt his generosity. When the Crystarium was being constructed, he even allowed folk to plunder the tower for resources. He has imposed no restrictions upon us but one. No one except the Exarch is permitted to dwell within the spire. Many seasons passed. A comrade of mine was bold enough to ask the reason why. The Exarch merely smiled and said, because one day, the Crystal Tower may vanish as suddenly as it arrived. Let's see. Let's take the Ethernet. The Armorer launch. Maybe that'll yield some answers. Cassard. Chris! It is good to see you awake and alert, my friend. What's this about? You're not writing the Exarch's memoirs, are you? I'm not sure how much I can tell you, considering we avoid asking too many questions. Unspoken rule and all that. If anyone has fresh insights to share, then it'd be Captain Lena, I'd say. She lost her parents to an Eater attack not long after she was born. The Exarch saw to her upbringing. Outward appearances aside, those two are like grandfather and granddaughter. I imagine the news of his predicament hit her doubly hard. Not that our proud captain would ever let it show. If you decide to talk to Lena, she'll be at her usual post at the Essential Gate. The Cabinet of Curiosity. I wonder who he's speaking to there. Of course, Morin. Oh, was there something else you needed? If you've come for the results of my research into this persistent light, I'm afraid there's little to tell as of yet. What do you know about the Exarch? Records pertaining to the Exarch? Well, I need no documentation to relay what little I know of his history, if that is what interests you. Less than a decade had passed since the coming of the Flood, when the Crystal Tower first flashed into existence. Its summoner, the Exarch himself, became known to the refugees in Lakeland soon thereafter. He welcomed all who sought out the spire, be they locals who had lost their homes, or Verberites fleeing their ruined kingdom, and together did they found the city which would become the Crystarium. Some thought to call him king, for he refused to share his name, but the summoner did not deem himself worthy of royal address. Thus did people consider his scintillating skin so alike to the tower he had summoned, and bestowed upon him the title of Crystal Exarch. As for his true name, well, 'twould seem that is a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Alright, let's find Lena. There she is.
Chris, I was not told you had awoken. A welcome surprise. Now, if only the Exarch has returned to us. He was taken by this rival of yours, was he not? Your companions mentioned that they had an idea of where to find them, and so I bristled when they asked for your patience. I did not understand their hesitation until I saw that you had fallen. Only then did I realize that I had no business rushing ahead. Even so, the delay has been no less antagonizing. In the moments before we he left to join you in Calusia, the Exarch entrusted me with a key. It opens a door in the Ocula to a chamber known as the Umbilicus. This room is the heart of the tower, into which only the Exarch himself is permitted to enter. He bid me allow none into the tower once he had departed. Only in the event that an army of eaters descended upon the city was I to access the Umbilicus and awaken the defensive barrier. Never before had he left me with such instructions. But the battle was falsely loomed near, and at the time I accepted the key without much thought. Since then, however, that moment is all that occupies my mind. When I recall the look on his face, he knew that some terrible fate awaited him. Tell me, Chris. I need to know what he feared. What battle you and your companions are truly fighting?
I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
Forgive me. I trust in the Exarch, and I should not be voicing these doubts when he is not here to respond to them personally. But you have come to me with a question of your own, have you not?
I need to know more about him.
Ah, I see I am not the only one who burns for answers. The time has come to open the tower's heart. Though we do not face an invasion of eaters, I suspect the city will be in far more danger if you do not gain the knowledge you seek. Come, meet me in the Ocula, and I will unlock the door within.
All right. There must be something we're missing. Master Chris, the captain said to expect you. All right. Let's see what we got.
I have unlocked the door to the Umbilicus. You are free to enter. Once you have what you require, I'll see it sealed once more. Until then, I will remain without.
Thank you, Lena. Now we're really feeling the echo.
A moment to collect my thoughts, I prithee. Thy true name is Grahatia, then. By thy claims, thou too art a native of the Source, though from an age beyond our own, when the 8th umbral calamity hath visited devastation upon our star. Thou hast, by subtle means, reached across the boundaries of time and space to unsow the seeds of catastrophe, ere its creeping vines drag our champion unto an early grave.
In essence, yes. A difficult story to swallow, I am sure.
I doubt not the veracity of thy words, not the account of thy coming, nor that of the fated calamity. Yet my mind straineth still to apprehend the enormity of this tale. Wouldst thou favor me with a gradual unfolding of its chapters?
Certainly.
So, Urianger never truly had a vision.
But where to begin? I should start with those great minds who survived the calamity. Sid Garland being perhaps the greatest. In hopes of staying the unending tides of war, he and his fellows pursued all manner of possible solutions. One of these was rooted in a theory which unified several fundamental principles discovered over the course of the Warrior of Light's adventures. It proposed a method by which one could enter the River of Time, traverse the rift, and leap between worlds. Perfecting that idea, however, was a work which consumed their lifetimes, and thus was it left to future generations to decide whether theory would be put into practice. But all the while, the world continued to burn. Hope was a feeble outpost, beset on all sides by thievery and misery and murder. People cried out in despair, "There is no hope, we are finished. Mankind is finished." Then others raised their voices in answer. Though we be beyond salvation, those who came before may yet be saved. We will forge a crossroads and pave the way for a different future. By the wisdom of our forebears, we will prevent this calamity from ever having come to pass. The fighting went on unabated, but some few took up Sid's research and labored to realize those impossible ideas. After 2 centuries of labor, their descendants finally succeeded in awakening the Crystal Tower, an integral part of the process, and, in doing so, roused its caretaker, me. By this stage, scholars had largely established the phenomena underpinning the rejoining, and identified the first as the shard which precipitated the 8th Umbral Calamity. This grand structure was already capable of storing the energies required to attempt the translocation. All that remained was to augment some few of its functions based upon the theoretical models of Sid and his compeers.
And by means of such technologies didst thou effect thine arrival in the first, to an age before this star had joined with the Source.
Some while before, as it turned out. 'Tis all but impossible to predict how time will flow between one world and the next, and we missed our mark by almost an entire century. But this only worked in our favor. The Sin Eaters could not be defeated without the blessing of light, and summoning the only man who might stand a chance against them would require decades of preparation.
An undertaking of scarce credible endurance. That thou hast kept thy plan from falling into disarray these many years bordereth on the miraculous.
Indeed.
Yet howsoever history be rewritten, thy present self was shaped by events which followed the calamity. Should said catastrophe be averted, the very skein of thine existence will unravel. Surely thou hast foreseen this.
I am aware of the consequences. 'Tis for that very reason Sid and his colleagues bequeathed their legacy as an offering, and not an edict. To give all of oneself for the happiness of others, and with no promise of reward. 'Tis a hard thing to ask. Harder still for those condemned to survive in a world which pitted brother against brother. Indeed, you are right to call the execution of this plan miraculous, though the force which held it together was nothing so inexplicable. It was him. The warrior of light has been our unbroken thread. Where others would stumble and fall, he would rise above. Where others would break and run, he would carry on. The warrior of light's tale is one of unyielding bravery. To tell it was to feel courage. To hear it was to feel hope. It was a breath of inspiration in an age of suffocating shadow. In the histories of a fallen nation was our hero hailed as its greatest ally. In the time-worn pages of a noble's memoirs were his deeds joyously retold.
Heaven's Ward. That's right. Count
For
Edmund
many,
wrote it.
These stories were the flame which warmed them through the coldest of nights. And so it should come as little surprise that the plan found no shortage of volunteers, concerning as it did the warrior of light himself. It was their chance to add their own verse to the hero's saga. He was the lodestar that brought them all together, to send their final message back through time and space to him. The light of your legacy was our torch in the darkness. Burn bright again and live. I am merely the bearer of that wish, come to ensure it is safely delivered.
Looks like I have a new follower,
Therefore sharest thou
but
this
more on
burden
that
with
later.
me and no other. What wouldst thou have me say?
That you will be my accomplice? 'Twas you yourself who convinced me of your suitability when you spoke of how you learned of the Flood, and of your part in arranging Minfilia's journey to the First. Your actions showed uncommon resolve. 'Twas clear you were committed to the cause of saving this world. I knew I could trust you to choose the right path forward, even if that choice came with a heavy price.
What price?
When all is said and done, and the last of the Light Wardens lies slain, I will absorb their corrupted ether, and then I will die. Knowing what I know of your companions, not to mention your champion, they will try to stop me. But in saving one, they would save none. Therefore, I implore you to aid me in concealing my identity, and ensuring this tale ends as it must. To this end, I would have you take what I have told you of the Calamity, and make of it a portent. A prophetic vision you beheld in the swirling chaos of the Rift.
Is this truly thy wish?
History remembered the Warrior of Light, as I knew it would. And I will suffer no other to rescue the champion whose star has charted my course. I will see this tale to a happy end, my friend. There has been enough tragedy.
careful now. If you lose control again, the light could claim you for good. Although it's probably only a matter of time before you succumb to the change in any case. What do you mean to do?
I mean, to have a few words with both Emmett and the Exarch.
We should be on our way. Diassian mentioned the Tempest, did he not? That's the stormy seas around Calusia to you. His lair must be down there somewhere, hidden beneath the waves.
Oh yeah. Believe me, I'm gonna have some choice words for the both of them.
Did you find the answers you sought? If there is nothing more you need, I will go and lock the door.
I have some questions about the Tempest.
The Tempest? That is the name given to the seas by which Calusia is bound. If you make a request to the Tamers, they will provide you with an armoro to fly you over the waters, but... Do you mean to leave right this moment? Alone? I am not sure that... Nay, I will not seek to stop you. Go with the blessings of the Shadow, and I shall await your safe return.
You acquire an armoro. Just a moment and I shall saddle our swiftest beast to fly you to the island. The open water? To the depths of the Tempest. Our armoro can swim, yes, but to reach the ocean floor.
Ah, we have found thee. Word reached us of thy recovery, and thus did we gather with all haste. Ah. By thy looks I gather thou hast gleaned that which I came to tell thee.
Yep.
Urianger has shared everything with us. The Exarch's true identity and purpose.
I offer no excuses. When I agreed to aid the Exarch with his plans, 'twas in full acceptance of the condemnation I would face when my duplicity was laid bare. Yet it is not rancor, but resolve that I sense in thee. Thou art fully intent upon walking thy path to its end, art thou not? If thou canst forgive my deception, or, failing that, set aside thy displeasure for a time, I do beg leave to follow thee. What strength and wisdom I possess are thine to command.
I forgive you. Let's go.
I thank thee. Doubt not but that I will do all in my power to repay thy kindness and fulfill the Exarch's wishes.
I'm sorry, but I don't think this is a good idea. Leaving the Crystarium, I mean, with or without Urianger. What I did for you won't last forever. There's no telling when the light will break free again. Please, you must stay here, at least for a little while longer. We will find a way to cure this, I promise you.
How can you make promises? We don't even know where to start.
Alize, please. You know Reen was only trying to help.
Of course I know! I know only too well! But making promises you have no way of keeping is not a kindness. It's a lie. Plain and simple. We've all searched high and low for an answer, and every one of us came back empty-handed. I am not about to stand in his way now. Not after failing him in his hour of need. No! The least we can do is...
We will go with you as well. There is naught to be gained by standing still.
Indeed, we have exhausted every other avenue. Lead, and we shall follow. If there is any hope to be found, then we will surely find it at your side.
Are we all in agreement then?
Is there aught we can do to help?
Though we may not know the whole story, we do know you're in for a fight. And while the Exarch's away, it falls to the rest of us to see the Warrior of Darkness is given a proper send-off.
You told them?
No. Well, not in so many words.
Aye, we didn't need it spelled out for us. When the night sky appeared over whichever place you went to, it was harder not to put two and two together.
From the moment I heard that you and the Exarch shared the homeland, I had my suspicions. Long had he been waiting for a certain someone to arrive, and I knew at once that it must be you.
Exactly. When he went up to meet you, 'twas clear it was no ordinary visitor. That spring in his step spoke volumes. I could feel his excitement.
Eat him! That's right!
We do not fully understand where you or the Exarch hail from, or why you've all done so much to protect us. But we are deeply grateful nonetheless. So, if there is anything at all we might do to aid your journey, you need only name it. What would you have of us?
You might have invited them to join us, where there are not so many. But come, they are waiting. What is your will, O Warrior of Darkness?
Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Thou didst plan to commandeer an armourer for thy journey to the open sea. I fear the following dives unto Emmett Soak's underwater abode would drain even thy legendary stamina. Thus, during thy convalescence, we considered the most efficacious method for reaching the depths of the Tempest, and I believe we have arrived at an elegant solution. Yet, ere we discuss this step, I suggest thou dost conclude such pressing business as remains to thee in the Crystarium. Once the sea clotheth above our heads, We are unlikely to surface again until our grand deed is done. Alright. We're going to take a quick break and we will return with one more episode. Until then, that's it for this episode of Cruise Next Purgatory. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed the show. As always, if you're watching this on Twitch or live at PlayStation and you like this show, click the follow button. Be sure to turn on notifications so you're informed of all of my live streams and videos the moment they air. And be sure to subscribe to me for exclusive access. If you're watching this on YouTube and you like this video, click the like button on below and leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel by clicking here. Click here to watch more by me. Click here to watch the next episode, and click here to watch the previous one. Until next time, Cruise the Gex, signing out.